Quack, 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 quack. No! Hell was that?
I gotta fix that intro so it's not an overlay. I have to fix that. What is going on, everyone? Welcome into the Voice of College Football Oregon channel. And we have a special guest today. But first, how are you doing, Sean? Spaz.
Your name's I'm all right. Today. Trying to figure out how to navigate all these different shows and everything. And plus, didn't realize that they were actually doing Media Day. And I turn on Big Ten Network and it's Media Day. They're going live. And I'm like, well, why didn't I get any notification on this?
Well, it is Monday. Again, the game is Wednesday.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking. I didn't know they were actually doing like media days, like SEC, Big Ten media for the game. I didn't know that. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to catch up on and a lot coming out quickly, obviously, as the game gets near. A game that we all want to see. But Spaz is also dealing with technical difficulties, hence the mic sound a little bit, but we're doing our best here. We're doing our best. Got to work with what you got, right?
Decided to crash on me Saturday night. So, yeah, it's been a great 48 hours.
So let's bring on our guest. I don't want to waste any time because he has a time limit, and we want to talk as much ball as we can and hate on the Buckeyes as much as we can in an hour segment, basically. Welcome in, Jay Stevens up, locked on Buckeyes. There he is. How are you doing tonight, Jay?
I'm doing well. We're not hating on the Buckeyes here, are we? I might be on the wrong place.
Yeah, you might be.
Oh, man.
Okay, mutual respect. We'll leave it at mutual respect. How about that?
I could get down with that.
We can hate on each other. It's all good to me. Shit.
I mean, I guess in a random scenario question, because I've asked some people before, does it feel like Oregon Ohio State kind of has like a natural rivalry to a degree? Because Ohio State went 9-0 against Oregon. Now Oregon's 2-0 against Ryan Day. Now you're in this type of setting. Is there like this natural like pecking order like feeling to like the Ducks coming into the Big Ten? I mean, I'm just saying, a team from the Pac-12, the soft Pac-12, comes in and runs the table, you know, in the Big Ten. It does have to kind of be like a little irking, a little bit.
It does irk me, yes, but I wouldn't say rivalry yet, only because I am one of the Ohio State people that view the Penn State-Ohio State thing as a rivalry. Well, most Ohio State fans don't. They say, oh, you're not our rival. It's only Michigan. And I'm thinking the teams in the South have 3 or 4 or 5 rivals every single year. And so I understand how you can have more than one rival. I don't think Oregon and Ohio State have enough history to put it as a rivalry yet. Now, it may be if the Big Ten decides to have Ohio State and Oregon play every single year, like they had Ohio State and Penn State play every single year, then you could create a Big Ten rivalry that way. But no, I wouldn't say it's a rivalry yet. There have been 2 losses in a row. But the last time these two teams met in the playoff, we all remember what happened in that day. So there's that part of this.
That never happened.
We got a trophy for that one. We got a trophy. I bought some merchandise. Trust me, that thing actually happened.
Ezekiel Elliott is still running in my dreams. He's still.
Oh man! First he put it on Wisconsin. He put it on Alabama. And then even though Oregon had DeForest Buckner in the middle, it didn't matter. He just kept running right through Oregon's defense too.
There were so many bad plays in that game where they should have stopped them on like 4th downs or 3rd and longs, and they just couldn't do it. And I was like, there we go. Here we go. So, what do you want to I don't know how we want to go about this. Kind of didn't think about how to actually start this. I thought of the topics of it, but not really how to intro it. The game is, that's it. 48 hours away, basically. What are you trying to expect to see from this team? Because what is the feeling with Buckeye Nation right now after that absolute ass kicking of I believe personally an overrated Tennessee team.
I put it cautiously optimistic because of what you saw against Tennessee. What happened the previous game that the Buckeyes played will not be erased in any Buckeye fan's mind because it is the game. It is the rivalry game that you have to win, and the Buckeyes lost it. You can't forget that. You can't forget what happened the last time Ohio State played Oregon because that was a loss. And it wasn't just a loss. It was a way that things went down. And so cautiously optimistic comes in because based off what you just saw in game number 13, you thought you were going to get that from games 1 through game number 12, and game number 13 would have been the Big Ten championship, but you didn't have that. So the cautious part is, will we get this for one game? Will we get it again? The optimistic part is, we seen the team we thought we were going to see all game long. That team can show up against Oregon, but you're not sure if that team's going to show up because you don't know what situations the coaches will put the players in. So as much as I believe that Ohio State can win, and I think a lot of Oregon fans believe Ohio State can win, I also understand we only saw the real Ohio State team, well, the best of Ohio State once. If you say the best of Ohio State was against Oregon, okay, maybe. I think that may have been one of their second or third best outings of the year, or maybe that was a loss. So I can't put your loss in that game better than 42 points against Tennessee, which has a real defense, a really good defense. So I would say the best outing was against Tennessee. Will that show up against Oregon in a rematch? Maybe. I honestly have no idea. I try my best to, I wear scarlet lenses. I'm a Buckeye fan, been a fan for a long period of time. But I try not to be able to wear those things all the time. And when I take the glasses off and just look at it as a true analyst, I don't know what team's going to show up. And it's not because of the players. It's because of the coaches. And that's where I get nervous. And I realize, I don't know what's going to happen in Pasadena. Ohio State has a goods to beat Oregon by 3, maybe 5 points. They also have the opportunity to lose by 3 or maybe 5 points. It all depends on how the coaches coach the game.
I mean, you guys do have the best offensive coordinator in the game today.
Who, Ryan Day or Chip Kelly?
Chip Kelly, both of them.
I mean, which one?
I mean, when Chip Kelly was in Oregon, he didn't put his best game out there. When Chip Kelly in the biggest game of the year against Michigan didn't put his best game out there. I know Chip Kelly is a great offensive mind. This year, to me, was not the best overall for Chip Kelly throughout the 13 games so far. Maybe it was Ryan Day's approach saying, we're going to just kind of slow walk this thing and be very methodical throughout the year, and then all of a sudden in the playoff, we're going to go boom. Maybe. But at some point, even though when you're methodical, you think you're supposed to consistently be the better team out there because of the athletes you have. Didn't get that. I do think some of that is due to the injuries the Buckeyes have had on the offensive line. You lose your left tackle, who's going to the NFL, probably going to be a first or second round pick. You lose your center, who's a Remington Award winner, going to be a day 2 pick in the NFL draft. You also lose your backup left tackle, who has since transferred out, and he was not good anyway. So that you got him out on the field and realized he ain't the best guy to play at left tackle. I mean, if the team was healthy on the offensive line all year, you may say Chip Kelly is the best guy to call plays, no matter the matchup, maybe. But part of me thinks Ryan Day might be the best guy to do it, but he can't do it consistently because he's the head coach. So I say it that way because I do think at some point Ryan Day might need to take over play calling from a guy who he trusts with his life and Chip Kelly. This might be a game to do that because if things start to get a little rocky, Ryan Day has to be able to have the confidence to say, no, you're not doing this anymore. This is my job. This is my job on the line. I got to do this. So I think Chip Kelly is a good offensive mind. Sometimes I think Ryan Day is better.
I think that's a fair point. Ryan Day right now is supposed to be the CEO. Like, he's letting Chip Kelly call the plays, which, as an OC, especially like someone like Chip Kelly has experience. He knows how to play calls. That's all he did as a head coach. He played the calls, or called the plays rather. Wow, tongue twisted there. But is it like you just said about the Tennessee game? Are you also maybe a little nervous of Ryan Day and Chip Kelly getting in their own head to a degree, and Jim Knowles even, of, again, seeing what Oregon did the first time, and then that Michigan game? Is there I mean, is there a true pressure at this point on Ryan Day? Because the question has been like, who has more pressure on him, Dan Lanning or Ryan Day in this game? Like win or lose, who has more pressure? I would say it's Ryan Day personally, because Dan Lanning is only in his third year and in a new conference. Ryan Day's been there for 8 years. 6 years. I was like 7, 8. I was like, no, 8 seems too long.
6 years. This is year 6 for him. No, I think the more pressure is on Ryan Day. I think Dan Lanning, win or lose, I think he's fine. I think Dan Lanning is in a great spot to be a young coach and already be a guy who is in a new conference, been in the previous conference the first couple of years. You already solidify yourself as being a good recruiter, a good defensive mind, as a head coach as well. I think Dan Lanning is fine. I think Ryan Day has the pressure. I think in the rematch, I think Ryan Day knows how to handle this. And this is not something I talked about on Locked On Buckeyes, but I do think that Ryan Day understands that he can tap into something he did against Clemson in 2020. That was a COVID year, but in 2019, in the first playoff game that Ryan Day coached as a head coach for Ohio State, it was Ryan Day going up against Dabo Swinney and Clemson, kind of at one point a juggernaut, a team that you thought that Clemson should beat Ohio State, but Ohio State was undefeated. Clemson went on to lose in the national championship to LSU that year. It was a close game. Ohio State's offense failed to score in the red zone numerous times. They ended up having some unfortunate things go their way, and then in the very final play, Justin Fields and Chris Olave were not on the same page. Nolan Turner gets an interception, game over. Clemson wins that game. 2020, Ryan Day goes into that game and says, we saw what happened the year before. We're going to go into this game and do things a little bit different. Up-tempo, changing things up, and Clemson didn't have an answer. Now, up-tempo was the same thing that worked against Clemson in 2019, but Ryan Day somewhat went away from it. And I think in this game here, where Ryan Day against Tennessee kind of went up-tempo a little bit more, and Tennessee couldn't handle it. I think Ryan Day realizes we got to go up-tempo a little bit. We can't just be methodical. We can't just be slow-walking this thing. And I think Ryan Day is going to be maybe doing some quick huddling if he huddles, or being more up-tempo with the play calling, getting things in quicker. We saw the defense handle the quicker play calls in Tennessee's up-tempo offense very, very well. They're going to have to do that again against Oregon. And I do think Ryan Day realizes what didn't work the first time might have to be switched and altered so we do what we do best. This offense, no matter if it's C.J. Stroud or Justin Fields or Will Howard, I got my own thoughts about Kyle McCord last year. That was a weird year. But, dude, I realized that Ryan Day realizes his offense is best with an up-tempo approach. So where Ryan Day didn't really go up-tempo a lot the first time around, I think that up-tempo offense will be utilized in a big way. And even though there was a loss on October 12th, January 1st in a new calendar year, Ryan Day will realize we got to make it a race. If they're going to go fast and it works for them and it works for us, why don't we do what works for us? And that's where I think Ryan Day's expertise and experience comes in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this game is it's so hard to even predict where this game could go. This could be a 17-13 game, or it could be a 38-35 game. I tend to think it's probably going to be a game in the 30s, maybe 40s. Both these offenses are fairly equipped on all levels, and both of the defense are fairly equipped. So it's like you just don't know what's going to happen. Adjustments from the first game, all those different things play in. I just don't even know how to call this game right now. It's just,
That's how most of us are, because I'm the same way. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I've seen a lot of, and I understand the analysis of like this could be a low scoring game because both teams maybe are a little more timid, knowing what's at stake with this game. Maybe the defenses adjust just enough. But yeah, so I don't know where to quite go with this. I lean to the shootout. because I think both defenses are just basically trying not to get burnt. Like basically just not get absolutely torched score wise. So I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But Jay, what do you think are some of the big differences looking at game one to this? Because this is win or go home.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is it. You're done. So the motivation has to be there for both teams.
Yeah,
What is one of the things you're looking forward to or looking at for Ohio State as a team overall? It can be offense, defense, specifically like one thing you're looking at to go, what are they going to do differently? Because again, win or go home. I mean, this is it.
Aside from the up-tempo offense that I do think Ohio State is going to utilize a whole lot more this game, I think Ohio State is going to find ways to get pressure on Dylan Gabriel. The first time around, Dylan Gabriel was basically clean. I don't think he touched the ground at all, even on some rushing attempts. I don't think he touched the ground at all, which is not good for a team that has the talent of Ohio State, for your opposing quarterback in the biggest game so far to that point in the year, for him to say, "Oh, you guys can't touch me," and it was right. You couldn't touch him. I think JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer are going to have to find ways to get in the backfield. Now, I'm not saying Jim Knowles is going to just use a front four to get pressure, because I think that'll be very stupid. I don't think it'd be very wise to use just four guys consistently, or even just early in the game to try to get pressure. But one thing Jim Knowles did against Indiana, would have been game number 10, game 11 maybe, was he kind of baited Kurt Signetti in Indiana on that day, where the first drive, maybe the first quarter, he kind of just sat back and allowed Curtis Work, the Indiana quarterback, to kind of get a little comfortable, to kind of see the field, and really only brought the four down linemen. Then all of a sudden, it's pressure. The thing about this game is I don't think Jim Knowles is going to just bring pressure the same way in this game, because you can't. Dylan Gabriel's too smart. He's too good. He's too slippery. He'll be able to figure out what's happening and all of a sudden be able to overcome that obstacle right in front of him. So I do believe that you're going to see Jim Knowles maybe simulate pressure a little bit, maybe show pressure, then pull it away at the snap of the ball, or bring different looks, bring different guys in the box pre-snap to kind of cloud the vision of Dylan Gabriel before the snap of the ball. I think there's so many different ways Jim Knowles is going to try to get pressure into cloudy up the picture pre-snap so that Dylan Gabriel can't get comfortable. And I think it's what you have to do. Cloudy the vision of the quarterback via pressure by blitzing or just getting pressure in his face, but also muddy up the picture so that he never is able to get comfortable with what he sees. And if he does get comfortable, overcome that. You weren't able to overcome it the first time around, even with all the mistakes. You had some mistakes on offense. There was multiple times this year Ryan Day mismanaged the clock and mismanaged timeouts. So I'm thinking, what are you doing? How is this happening? I think that Jim Knowles is going to find ways to get pressure on Dylan Gabriel in a way that he didn't do the first time these two teams played.
Well, I agree with that 100%. One, I think that's both teams. You know, kind of one of the keys, because in that first game, exactly, there was. Some people say there was two, but there was actually only one sack recorded, and that was Mateo.
Yeah.
And basically Will Howard just kind of slipped. He didn't want to get hit, so he just kind of basically just slipped and sat down. Basically, under pressure. It wasn't at the very end there, but it wasn't really a sack. But it would have been. But it was only one sack in that entire game. There was no pressure from either line on these quarterbacks, and when you don't have that. Yeah, both quarterbacks are going to have a great day. I mean, they're going to have a great day throwing the ball.
It's weird you say there was only one sack, because as I think about it now, Will Howard never looked comfortable, which makes me kind of remember that Harmon was getting in the backfield and wreaking havoc, but he wasn't getting sacks. It was causing disruption on the interior of the Buckeyes offensive line, and I forget exactly. I know it was sometimes in the passing where he was getting in Will Howard's face, but only getting one sack recorded by both of those teams with defensive lines that you would think will be able to get more pressure than that. That's odd to think about. Now, I think at the end of the day in this game, you're probably going to be looking at 5 sacks combined. So I do think both coaches are just going to realize we got to get pressure. How do we do it? We don't know. We'll figure it out while we go. But I do think both coaches will figure out how to get pressure.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think some of the keys are
For the let's go Ohio State keys here. Figuring out how to have an efficient run game. And that may be something that would be expected because of who's in the backfield at Ohio State. But earlier in the show, we talked about Ohio State's issues on the offensive line, mainly being due to injury and O-line depth. Ohio State's going to play 3 guards this game: Luke Montgomery, Austin Sareveld, and Tego Shabola. Starters will be Sareveld at left guard and Shabola at right guard. When Luke Montgomery comes in, he's probably going to be at left guard, and then Sareveld will go to right guard because Shabola is going to be the one that's going to need a breather. And I do think that if Ohio State's able to be efficient in the run game, that's going to be huge because you're going to hear a lot of people, myself included, talk about Jeremiah Smith this, Jeremiah Smith that. That dude needs to get the ball. It's true. Cardinal Tate and Emeka Egbuka need to get the ball. Yes. It's a whole lot easier to get the ball as a receiver if your team is running the ball efficiently. Now, I'm not calling for them to run for 250 on the ground. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think this is the kind of game where you're going to get that kind of traction on the ground against that Oregon defense. Because I don't think Ohio State's O-line is able to do what Penn State did in the Big Ten Championship, where everyone's saying, well, if Ohio State can do what Penn State did, yeah, if they were fully healthy, if they didn't have anybody hurt, I think, they would have won the first time. They would have won the first time around. I firmly think if Simmons were healthy, the left tackle didn't get hurt, Ohio State wins that game. And they don't have the issues running the ball in the second half that they did. But I do think you have to find a way to efficiently run the ball, which it's going to be tough. But I think Ohio State behind Trevion Henderson, no matter if he starts or not, I do think that Ohio State is going to try to find a way to get an efficient run game. I also think that they got to, on defense, figure out how to handle Oregon's speed. I don't really have all the answers for it. The coaches get paid millions of dollars for that, so I want to leave that to them, and they watch the film, and they are the ones right now, Pasadena, trying to figure out everything that they can do to win this game. Figure out how to handle Oregon's speed. One of the benefits Ohio State has is Jordan Hancock, who is your nickel corner, but is also called their cover safety, who has played a lot more safety post that Oregon loss than he did pre the Oregon loss. And I think you're going to find Jordan Hancock back deep, Lathan Ransom back deep, or even Caleb Downs back deep, and just moving those guys all around. And I think it's going to be a great asset and avenue for them to try to handle Oregon speed. Those are just a couple keys to the game that I have. I probably could find 5 or 6 more. The run game is huge, and you got to be able to handle that speed.
Oh yeah, and think of the run game. I mean, that's it. And Ohio State can have a good rushing game, and Oregon's has been susceptible to rushing attack. Obviously, look at Penn State. I think Penn State threw everything they had on, at Oregon as expected that they would, and Oregon seemed vanilla in that game. I don't know what it was. Just defensively, they just seemed like they were just kind of there. I don't know what the deal was, but yeah, in the first game, for instance, Ohio State, 33 rushes, 141 yards. And you look at, there was like 2 to 3 big runs. Outside of that, it was like nothing, which was surprising.
Weird. Yeah, very surprising.
Very surprising.
Yeah, I also think our defensive line gave the coaches whatever they had against Penn State, because Dan Lanning and Tosh LaPoy sound like squirrels right now. They can barely talk.
Oh, is it that bad? I've heard them talking.
Yeah, those guys are like, yeah, we're going in this game. Like they just can't talk. I'm like, are you guys yelling that much? Are you sick? I don't know what's going on right now.
I got a question for you guys, because I'm curious how you guys view the time that Oregon has off going into this game. And I'm going to say that because I am a Colts fan. It's a sad thing to say after losing to the Giants on Sunday afternoon. But growing up, Peyton Manning didn't really do well when he had a bye week. He would after week, what was it, 17 back then, You have a bye week, and then you go and play that game. And there are a lot of times Peyton Manning would end up losing that divisional round of the NFL playoffs because that bye week hurt him. And I'm curious how you guys view Oregon's time off, where Ohio State had extra time off between the loss to Michigan, had about 3 weeks off, and then they played Tennessee. Then all of a sudden they have 11 days off and they play Oregon. Oregon's been off since December 7th. Now they're playing on New Year's Day. So not a full month, but almost a month. How do you guys think Oregon's going to do with that amount of time off? Will they be rusty? Will they be rested? Like, I think it could actually hurt them. I think it could help them. But my brain tells me sometimes great teams don't do well with that much time off.
It gives me a little bit of concern, but it also gives me a little bit of hope because there's some guys like Jalil Florence who's been practicing and looks like he could play Wednesday. All indications are he's been practicing for 3 weeks, so he might be ready to be that surprise safety cover if need be. And that's big. If we could get Jalil Florence in there playing some this postseason, that could definitely help our defense, especially in the secondary. I prefer to have him back there versus Dante Manning, because
why you gotta call it Dante Manning like that? Why you gotta do
he
that?
covers the broadside of a fucking dick barn. Guy has been ass for 4 years.
He's been okay.
We got an interception in the Penn State game. Yay for Dante. Sorry, time's up. Gotta go. Done with that guy. But who knows? We'll see. I like it on the defensive aspect. On the offensive aspect, it could cause issues because it could cause some chemistry issues. There's a lot of benefits and there's a lot of disadvantages to having a lot of time off. So you just never know. I like where our offense has been all year. Hopefully this month-long layoff doesn't change that aspect.
I agree with Spaz on both parts. Like, it's good for health-wise. There's been things about, for instance, like Dylan Gabriel took a couple days off and he came back. He put on his helmet. And he's like, I remember why I love this sport, because you just get mentally drained after a while. Yeah. So you get to reset. Marcus Harper for our O-line is feeling healthy. They're actually having O-line competition right now. That's how hard Oregon apparently is battling in practice for this. They've been having some like little bit of O-line competition going on to push people.
Are they like trying to like get starting positions? Because
I don't know. I don't think it's that. I think it's more just some playing time as backup, even, But I mean, they're still doing competition, so they're pushing each other. But I agree, playing a game and then for Ohio State and then having still 12 days off, whereas Oregon has like 24 days off. Ohio State's a little more in sync, maybe, than you always expect. That little rust, especially like maybe like first half a quarter or something like that, offensively, especially getting in sync again. But the way that this team has been practicing, I don't expect to be more than a half a quarter. So I don't think it's too bad, but I do think we have to reevaluate. Is the first round bye really worth it? Maybe. Is that first round bye really worth it, dude, when you get 24 and they get 12? I mean,
the whole seeding thing is stupid. It's dumb. I never thought this sport, when they expanded to a playoff, would realize, we're going to allow teams to have a bye that don't deserve one. Because never in my life do I think a group of 5 school has ever deserved a bye over a team they're not better. Nobody thinks Boise State is better than Ohio State. But because Ohio State didn't make their conference championship game or didn't win the conference championship game, Boise State gets a bye. They didn't revamp the thing when the Pac-12 basically didn't fold, but only is down to 2 teams, and
Thank
that's
you.
where this idiotic thing goes into. Because even when they said, "Oh, we're still going to do the top 5, the highest ranked conference champions," I'm like, that was a Power 5 thing, not a Power 4 thing. And y'all are making this whole thing about, oh, now you're saying the Group of 5 is at the same table as SEC and Big Ten. No, they never have been. They never will be. I'm sorry, Boise State. Y'all about to get smacked on New Year's Eve. That's a horrible way to end the calendar year. They're about to get beat bad. Unless Ashton Genty goes off for 400 yards and 6 touchdowns, I don't see a way Boise State wins that game.
He better. He is only, I think, 152 yards from breaking the NCAA record.
That's held by Barry Sanders, right? Or no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's literally only 152 yards away. So this game could, if he has a great game, break some tackle. But I agree. That's the point. A lot of people have bitched about it, and I understand it. Trust me, Oregon playing Ohio State again in the quarterfinal. That's ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
That is ridiculous. I mean, at least it's at the Rose Bowl, so I guess iconic. We get that kind of traditional matchup. Also, it's the first time in the Rose Bowl the 2 conference teams have played against each other in history.
Yeah.
I saw that earlier. And I was like, that's kind of cool.
So weird.
It's kind of cool, though.
Even if it's like, even you're getting like a Midwest school versus a West Coast school playing, that's even. I got my own thoughts about the Rose Bowl, man. Like that thing, make that thing the national championship every single year. That'd be that's way better than pushing this thing out to like the end of January.
I have seen that too. Yeah, make it the national championship. But yeah, what you said is that's it. A lot of people are bitching like the committee picked these teams and put them where they are. It's like, no, the committee just ranks them. The seeding was agreed upon by all the commissioners, including the Pac-12 at that point, and the athletic director of Notre Dame, because somehow Notre Dame has to be somehow involved. That was already accepted. That's why you get the seeding. It's not the committee.
Notre Dame is the worst one-loss team in history, I swear to God.
Hey, I think that goes to Indiana because they were not that. They're like Boise State. They do not deserve a seat at the big boy table.
Well, I guess in this sense too, you have to though also, and I agree with it. It's because then you're taking into account of like the competition, quote unquote, but you also have to reward winning. It'd be like if Ohio State had Indiana's schedule and they blew everyone out. You'd be like, Ohio State didn't play anyone.
Yeah, they would, and they also would say, well, it's expected. It's Ohio State.
I know.
Ohio State gets the benefit of the doubt. I think the one thing with Indiana was the one time they played a real team, which was Ohio State, they got destroyed, and they only beat Michigan by 5. And Michigan's garbage, absolutely trash.
But they beat Michigan. They did beat Michigan though.
But only by 5. You only beat that garbage team by 5. Yes, I know Ohio State lost to that garbage team. But you beat that garbage team by 5 points. That should mean something. They're fairly bowl eligible. And then, wait, no, they're 11-1. Okay, like I understand the record. They didn't play anybody.
No, I'm not. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah,
I'm just saying you do have to reward wins, though.
Minnesota by 1. By 1.
I mean, it's Boise State's only loss was on the road by 3 last second to Oregon. So at the same time, you have to also then reward the team that also beat UNLV, which is a pretty decent team. They beat them twice.
Do you guys live out west?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think UNLV would have made the playoff if their quarterback didn't leave after the 4-0 start?
Maybe.
Because I live in the Midwest, and I don't really watch a lot of UNLV football, and I wasn't curious what the conversation was out in that part of the country about UNLV. And I know their backup was pretty good, a decent quarterback, but I truly wonder if Sluka stayed, if they would have been a team that would have jumped and stayed undefeated to be that G5 school inside the playoff. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. It just popped into my head just when we started talking about this whole conversation.
Well, Luka was the one who left after like 4 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was under 50% completion. So actually, I think they did better by actually him leaving.
Okay.
I think actually they improved.
Okay.
Because really, yeah, it was like he wasn't that great.
Then gosh, he got some really. Like, I knew he got bad advice, but if you were that off, who is in your ear telling you to try to get more money from the school when you're not that efficient?
If you were throwing like 80% and like 10 to 1 touchdown or something, like, okay, fine. But when you're like 47% and like 50-50, like 4-4 or something like that, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. No. Like, the whole situation seemed like it was just adult in the room trying to make some money.
Yeah. Bad advice from an agent.
Horrible advice.
And family or something.
Horrible advice. Goodness gracious, man.
Speaking of bad advice, what do you think about Carson Beck going to the draft?
I mean,
off an injury and a really pretty year, you know.
So to his, it hurt him. Georgia led the country in drops. So it's hard when you look at his numbers and look at the production and how off he looked at times. Was it a mental thing because of the drops his team had? I don't know. But also, after a year like this, I'm a person that would say stay in school, get healthy, don't try to go get the money. Maybe he realized he was not going to be the starter next year because maybe Kirby was going to move on from Carson Beck to go to somebody else. Even though Kirby's already shown that his track record is to lean on the older guy, the more experienced guy, than to go with someone younger. Jake Fromm and Justin Fields back in 2019, where I think Justin Fields was the better quarterback, but Kirby Smart stuck with Jake Fromm. He took him to the national championship, so it made sense why you stick with that. You stick with that guy. I think it's dumb. I think it's very, very dumb. Even if he has to go to the portal to go to somewhere else. I don't read a lot of comments on shows because sometimes they get me.
I tell Spaz, do not read the comments because they crack me up too, and so sometimes I just have to pull one up once in a while.
No, man, I think it's dumb. I think he's a guy that would have hugely benefited from staying in school. But I also don't know the advice what he's been hearing from NFL people. Maybe they're telling him to go to the NFL. And it's not all about the money. Maybe it's, hey, go to the NFL. The quarterback cycle isn't that good this year. You're going to be a second-round pick. We'll get you healthy. We'll work with you. Our doctors are better than those in college. You're not going to school anymore, so you're going to have more time to rehab. I don't know what he's been hearing. So I don't you're not worried about him being a millionaire. He's making money now.
Yeah.
His tramp stamp wanted that money.
Apparently it did.
Well, one thing with him, though, is it's worrying because you have a surgery. And we're not going to go on a Carson Beck rant here for like 20 minutes. Relax, chat. But, he's out of surgery. So is he going to be ready for pro day? Is he going to do throws at the combine? Is he going to do any? You don't know, but that's it. The quarterback class this cycle is kind of weak in regards to all the people because all we've seen is personally as an Oregon fan, Dylan Grable is not highly looked at, but I think he's slowly moved up, especially after you just watched Shedeur Sanders against BYU. And then Cam Ward is probably maybe number one now. I think he's the number one quarterback now.
I'm glad you said that. I don't normally talk about Cam Ward at all. One thing that annoys me, maybe this is an old school mindset. I'm not that old, though. If you're going to play in a football game, don't go in there, break a record, and leave. To me, that's that's so selfish. And even though the coaches are saying, well, that was always a plan, I don't care. That's very, very selfish. And people saying bowl games don't matter. Bowl games are part of your final win-loss record of the season. They are attached to coaches' win-loss records for bowl games and overall records. Bowl games still matter. And the fact that you're going out there, putting yourself out there and saying, oh, I'm going to break this record and then not play anymore? No. Absolutely no. That's so wild to me. I'm also someone that doesn't like guys that opt out of bowl games. So maybe I'm just a little weird. I don't know. That's so weird.
It's kind of a mixture, I think. You probably watch it, and I try not to specifically say it on here because of a different channel, but Cover 3 podcast. They had a rant about it earlier, like, Why would you just go in to break a record? Maybe the coaches agreed upon that and pulled him at halftime. Then you're just sitting on the sideline watching your team just get buffooned in the second half by Iowa State. And then he was warming up and like throwing the football still. I'm like, is he going to go back in for like a final touchdown drive? No. So I was like, why didn't you just opt out of the damn game? You just wanted the. So yeah, it's kind of a weird. Was it just for the record, or were you just trying to show off for like a half? Why didn't you just sit at home? What? I don't know. It was a weird scenario.
I heard someone. Now I didn't catch that rant. I'm gonna have to check that show out. I listened to it quite a bit. Just missed that one so far. But someone else said, "Well, what about those guys that said he could have been hurt? Would they be upset if I don't think that when you play football, you go out there thinking you're going to get hurt. Like, I just don't think that. So with him out there, someone made a comment about him possibly getting hurt by playing the first half. You're playing football. You know an injury's at risk. You don't think about that when you're playing. You're trying to play to win the game. Well,
Colorado took out insurance for their players before the bowl game. Did. That's why Shador played the whole game. He looked like absolute ass, and their defense is awful as usual, but they took out insurance for their players just in case.
So it's kind of surprising that Deion Sanders is the first one to do that, or Colorado is. And I don't know all the schools' insurance policies for players and stuff like that. I have no idea. But we don't normally hear about schools. I can't remember the last school I heard about taking an insurance policy out for the bowl game. Why isn't that covered in the regular season? If there's an insurance policy, I don't know the insurance and all that stuff. Right. But the fact that had to be done for the 13th game of the year, that seems a little odd to me.
This seems like this seems like a good, I don't want to say loophole, that's the wrong term, but so like during the regular season, if you're known that you're going to be like maybe a first round draft pick, your family will take out personal insurance, right?
Yes.
So maybe to get you to play in a bowl game, the school will then finance one game insurance wise. I don't know how that would work. But maybe that's a loophole to get rid of the NIL and people opting out of bowls. Is the school says we will pay for this insurance for you to play or something like that, up to however much money or whatever.
They have the money.
No idea how that works.
I don't either. They have the money. They have the people. They have the lawyers. They have the doctors. They have everything you need. Like, just make it happen. Also, if you're better players playing the bowl game, you're going to make more money. Isn't that what this whole thing is about anyway? I think it's about the athletes and still playing, but the people that make decisions, it's about money. They want millions and millions and millions of dollars, and look, that's an easy way to make more money.
Mark Lewis, you think all these quarterbacks are trash so much, you probably think that Will Howard is the top 5 quarterback in this draft class.
All I have to say is people laughed at Bo Nix and look at what he's doing. So don't give me that.
Y'all will call Bo Nix trash, and look, he's led his team probably to the playoffs as a rookie.
I'm not a big fan of Will Howard.
He's all right. I'm not saying anything bad about Will Howard. He's a competent quarterback, but he's not like your game breaker type of quarterback or anything like that.
They throw out all this trash, and then they're like, "Oh, these guys are all trash." Well,
I will say
probably better than your quarterback in real.
If you put Kyle McCord on this team with these receivers, second year as a full-time starter, still in Columbus, working with Ryan Day and now Chip Kelly, Kyle McCord goes off. And I'm not saying he's going to throw for 4,700 yards like he did at Syracuse this year. I think his interception numbers are down. I think his yardage is still high, 4,000 plus.
Yeah.
I think he throws 40 to 45 passing touchdowns. And you view Kyle McCord a whole lot different currently than you do with him being at Syracuse. And I think his team is actually in a better spot right now than it is right now with Will Howard. Will Howard is flourishing with NFL talent all around him. If he had the Kansas State talent this year with the same talent he has, Will Howard's not going to be a 4th-round pick. But because he's at Ohio State, he could be a 3rd-round pick, which I don't think he should be. I think Will Howard should be more of a 5th or 6th-round pick. To me, he's not that good.
Yeah, Troy, he's not going to be a 1st-round pick. That's going to sell that in your nose.
No, 1st-round pick, absolutely not. No.
I have no disregard for Will Howard. I liked him at Kansas State. I think he's done great there when they let him throw the ball, but that's it. When you have that much talent around you, and you're going against really crappy teams in some regards sometimes, it looks so much better. I mean,
it does.
it
Yeah, it
absolutely
does.
looks so much better. Okay. All right, let's recenter here. Recenter here. Speaking
Okay,
of
I thought
Will Howard and those receivers, is there something Ohio State thinks they're going to see differently from Oregon's defense this game? Because to me personally, Oregon just going to do the same thing they did before. They're going to play a little man here and there, but they're just going to do bend, don't break, don't get burnt, basically. Because you're not doing man-to-man against those wide receivers. You're not doing it. There's
Yeah.
no way.
Shouldn't. No, I think the one thing difference is Jordan Birch and how Oregon's going to utilize him because he didn't play the first time around. I don't have his numbers right in front of me, but I'm really curious to see how Ohio State handles Jordan Birch because if they're able to get pressure with Mateo and Birch and then if Harmon's still wreaking havoc in the middle, that's a problem. That's a massive problem. If Ohio State's able to neutralize Oregon's defensive front, that's a massive advantage. Because I talked earlier about Ohio State needing to have an efficient run game. I'm not even going to try to put a number saying they need to run for this or that. So I don't think there's a specific number they need to be able to rush for. I will say this: if they probably need to average 5 yards a carry in this game, which some may say, Dave, that should be pretty easy with the running backs. Yes, but with the offensive line, that's going to be a little bit more difficult, especially when they're going up against Oregon's D line. Coverage-wise, I think things are probably going to be a little bit more the same. I think they might try a little bit more man on Carnell Tate or Abuka. I don't think they're going to try man on Jeremiah Smith. I think you're going to try to double team him or bracket him and do whatever you can to try to muddy up that vision so there's never just one-on-one coverage there. But I do think the Jordan Birch thing is very, very interesting with him playing this time when he didn't play the previous time. What does Ohio State get to see? Because whatever they see is for the first time this year against this team. But you got to be able to adjust quickly. There's no time to, we got to wait 2 quarters and adjust. No, adjust now. You got tablets on the sideline to be able to watch film in game, which is so odd. We're in 2024. This is the first time they've allowed tablets on the sideline. NFL's been doing this for decades, it seems like. And now college football is now coming up to the I don't know what century this is, man. I can't keep up with that stuff. I ain't that smart.
And in your from the coaches up to the 15-second mark or whatever, like it's
like
the first year.
Miss.
It's so weird.
There's so many tech companies and like Sony and Bose and all the Microsoft app. This seems like a massive miss on all these technology companies saying, we'll just sponsor you. We'll put our logo on the side and we'll be able to do this for you. It seems like a massive miss, but it's college football, man.
I guess they don't want to turn. I guess they don't want to turn into soccer though, where it's like Emirates and like 20 so many different banners all over the stadium. Whatever.
I think the NBA is a great way to kind of get a picture of it because the NBA slow rolled the patches and the some have QR codes on jerseys. Company logos and saying, we want to sponsor your jersey. We want to put our logo right here on the jersey. And then you don't even realize it. Like, it's there, but it's so small. It doesn't take over anything.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm checking my Iowa, Missouri score here. What do you think, Spaz? Because I mean, it's an interesting thing. Like he was just saying about rushing. 5 yards of rush. Last time it was 4.3 yards per carry for Ohio State. It was 5 yards per carry for Oregon.
I think it would have been over 5 yards a carry for Ohio. Sorry, Spaz. I think it would have been over 5 yards a carry for Ohio State. Ohio State couldn't run the ball in the second half, which hurt them drastically.
Well, this is my thing. Because I know you're getting low on time. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to put this is what I hear on a lot of shows. Okay, Jay, here's the question. Ohio State wins the game if.
Ooh. On the spot.
There's multiple things that have to happen for Ohio State to win the game. If Ohio State maximizes the talent, which is a great way to just summarize everything. I could have said different things. Ohio State wins if Ryan Day maximizes the talent on the team. And that's offense, that's defense, and including special teams. There's been some times, even in the first time Ohio State Oregon played, Ryan Day didn't maximize the talent. I can even take away the injuries on the offensive line and how that hurt the Buckeyes in the run game. You must maximize the talent in this game. Dylan Gabriel might get his. You might have some guys on the Oregon's defense that might mess some things up while trying to protect Will Howard or while trying to run the ball. Maximize the talent. Feed Jeremiah Smith. Make sure Trevion Henderson is getting a healthy dose of the football. Don't try to split the carries between Trevion Henderson and Quinshawn Judkins. Miss me with that. I am more of a believer now in Trevion Henderson than I have ever been, because I was so down on him a few years ago. Was pretty bad. Maximize the talent. You have to do whatever it takes to win. And that's the best way to summarize it. Maximize the talent and do whatever it takes to win. Whatever else you want to fill in the blank and say that's what Jay means, okay, cool. It's your words, these are mine. Maximize the talent and do whatever it takes to win. Leave no doubt. That's what Ryan Day said before the Tennessee game. Make sure at the end of the day you leave no doubt when you end that game. Ohio State did whatever it took to beat Tennessee, and they blasted them. I don't think you'll blast Oregon, but I think Ohio State has the players to win the game. Buckeyes just have to maximize the talent they have.
Very good. Yeah, I like that.
I 100% fair, because I think these two teams are kind of like neck and neck in the sense of overall general talent. Obviously, you can say, well, Ohio State receivers maybe a little bit better, but then you got Chaz Johnson. Okay, O-line, Oregon, but the D-line, maybe Ohio State a little bit. Coaching experience, Ohio State, but unexpectancy coaching from Dan Lanning, maybe it's very 50-50. I think this one, kind of like last game, was Oregon left so many points on the field last game. That's the thing I think Ohio State fans forget about. There should have been a pick on that first drive.
Mm-hmm.
They missed the PAT. They missed the 2-point trying to chase those points. They missed a wide open Tez Johnson for 7 on the 4th and goal. They missed a field goal. There were a lot of points Oregon left on the board in that game, or didn't get an opportunity to take away from Ohio State in the sense of the pick. It's going to be an interesting game. I mean, to say the least. That's why it's so hard to make a prediction or expectation of what you're going to see in this game, whether it's high scoring or low scoring. Because what team is going to be hesitant? Is it going to be Ryan Day? Let's just run at them. It's not working? Let's do it 10 more times in a row, and hopefully it works. Or is it going to be a shootout kind of scenario? It's going to be very interesting, to say the least.
It'd be a fun one, man. It'll be a fun game to watch. I can't wait. I know
it's
we're
going to be
fun. Fast forward and get these jitters out of our system so we can just watch the game and figure out who wins, so we can figure out how we're going to do the post-game shows. I think you guys are going to be live after the game. We'll be live with our Buckeye Squad show. Myself, Jeff Hunt, and Barrett Salee are lined up to do that show, so that'll be a fun show. Win or lose, we'll be live right there on Locked On Buckeyes on the YouTube, just chopping it up for about an hour after the game.
We will be right here live too. And in Troy's fairness, yes, you're correct. There were wacky plays on both sides. That's what I'm saying. You just never know what can happen. You never know what's going to happen in this game. That's kind of why I like it. It's hard to predict. That's why the line's 2.5, you know. What was that, Spaz?
Stupid penalty that wasn't a penalty. Come on.
All right,
push a guy 5 yards in the backfield, and that's a penalty. Learn ball, you tards.
Wow. Okay, don't attack the chat that much. Jesus. All right, not to be on
going at it all the whole thing, and I was done.
Well, we are running out of time here, so I don't want to put you on the spot. I know what you're going to say, Jay, but who wins this game and how is it done? What is the score prediction potentially?
Everyone thinks that I don't know what you think I'm going to say. I'm going to say it very quickly. I have a score prediction written down. Oregon 38, Ohio State 28.
Ooh,
Wow, did not expect
Woof.
that.
Oh.
Woof. Hold on. I got to write this down so it's on record. Oregon, you said 30.
38-28.
31-28.
31.
Oh, I thought you said 38.
Sorry about
That's
that.
why I was like, woof. I was like, holy
No.
crap.
31. Oregon 31. Ohio State 28.
Okay. 3-point game. That's a respectable type of game. Spaz, you said your prediction before, I think.
38-35, Oregon.
You copied my prediction, you son of a bitch.
No.
You can't do that. I did it 2 days beforehand on the Michigan show. I said 38-35. You cannot. You know what? Done with you on score predictions this year. Absolutely done with you.
All right, 37-34. You can have your 38.
1 point off each way. Just shake.
Hey, at least we're all in the same boat, though. It's
Yeah.
going to be a close game. This is not going to be if it turns into a blowout somehow, one side or the other, I think everyone would be shocked.
These two renubs over here, Mark and Troy, 20, 30-point wins. Come on, guys. I get it, you left your team, but let's not get dumb. This is not going to be a blowout. If it is, it'll shock me.
Yeah.
It'll shock the whole world, basically.
I think the one I will say this. While I think Ohio State's going to lose, if it is a blowout, I think it goes Ohio State's way. So I saw somebody say 42-20 Ohio State. Ohio State's defense has been basically lights out since that Oregon loss. And I do think if
2014 go back.
What's that?
Oh, Troy and
Yeah.
I was going for a 2014 vibe.
Well, that too. But I do think the 42-20 thing could actually happen, but it's only if Ohio State's 42, Oregon's 20. I don't see it being the other way around. With those two numbers.
I think that's fair. I don't see a blowout one way or the other. I see at most a 7-point game. I think most people are in line with about a 3-point game.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be like maybe who has the ball last or a last second turnover kind of thing. Because that's my key to the game for Oregon was no penalties or fewer penalties and no turnovers.
Yeah.
Whoever has the most penalties or turnovers is probably gonna obviously have some issues. As against the world. No, get out of here.
The ball last wins.
All right. Well, Jay, we appreciate your time. We are now at just over your hour mark, so we appreciate you giving up a few extra minutes here to talk the game, and appreciate you saying that you're like, yeah, no, I think 31-20 Oregon.
I can talk to you about no problem. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I can tell you what Ohio State has to do to win the game. That I don't think they're going to. I don't know, man. I was skeptical going into the Tennessee game. I picked Ohio State to win reluctantly, and they blew my mind out of the water. If they win this game, I'll be shocked. I won't say I'll be shocked. They can win. They can win. I just don't see it happening. I don't. Here's one thing I have though. I know I got to run. I'm a long-winded guy. Before the season started, I said there would not be an undefeated national champion. And I kind of feel like the winner of this game is going to win the national championship. It has to be the front runner to win the national championship.
Yeah.
That has been the huge argument.
I am kind of wondering if Oregon happens to win, do they lose in the next round? Because that's kind of what I'm kind of leaning towards. Because I know open up a whole nother can of worms, and I got to run. Sorry, guys, I talk a lot. But
no, you're good. You're good.
I'm trying to, in my head, talk myself into Ohio State picking them to win the game, which I can't do right now. My picks out on a couple shows, but I'm
Chris,
curious
just
how
said
this
he
goes.
picked Ohio State to win, beat Tennessee. So,
I personally, I kind of wanted not because of hate for Ohio State. I kind of wanted Tennessee to win just because then we'd play Tennessee, so we'd go through another team, kind of in that mindset of like we'd play all the different teams.
Yeah, yeah.
So it kind of had to suck to like rematch with Ohio State immediately. But
Yeah.
I think Tennessee just overrated. I'm sorry, the SEC is not that great this year. I'm sorry. Whatever SEC people in the chat, if you see this later or whatever, I don't care. The SEC is not that great. Well, Jay, we appreciate you being here and you spending some extra time. And as you said, long-winded, that's fine. That's what we wanted. We wanted you to give us on the Oregon channel here some Buckeye knowledge. And you are the Locked On Buckeye guy. So by all means, we appreciate it. So,
yeah, guys, I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Hit me up anytime. I'll try to hop on the show and talk ball with you.
Outside of when you lose on Wednesday.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be tough.
He's like, no. I need
tough.
a couple days recovery. Well, Jay, thank you very much. And just tell people though, if they haven't seen the banner, where they can follow you.
Follow me on Twitter at jsteven07. Follow the show Locked On Buckeyes on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube, or wherever you get your fine podcast. We will be live at the conclusion immediately as the clock hits 0. We'll be live on YouTube on the Locked On Buckeyes YouTube page with the Locked On Buckeyes Squad show. Myself, Ohio State analyst Jeff Hunt, and Barrett Salee will be live right there, instantly reacting to the outcome of the game. I picked Oregon to win. The other two guys picked Oregon to win. We'll react to whoever wins the game.
3 out of 4 cover 3 podcast guys picked Oregon to win also.
Did Tom Fornelli pick Ohio State? Or Chip Pat?
I think it was Tom. I think it was Tom that picked Ohio State to cover the spread. Anyways,
interesting. I like Tom. He's probably the one guy on the show that I like the most. I used to like Danny Cannell. He's kind of gotten a little.
Tom's on the line, fam. What does he know?
Danny Cannell back to Florida.
All right, well, Jay, appreciate you, and yeah, definitely anytime we can talk Big Ten football as a Big Ten champs and all, So.
Oh gosh. Oh man, guys, thanks, guys. I got to run. I really appreciate it.
Yep, thanks buddy.
Jay. All right, everyone. Jay Stevens from Locked On Buckeyes. Definitely give him a follow.
Look what we got.
Oh my God, is that money? I think that's fake money. Did they just swipe a credit card through the Duck's ass? What is that?
Yeah.
Weird. But we appreciate it. That is the first super chat we've had in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Love it. You gotta love it. YouTube takes 30% of that, but yes, I love it. Love the contributions. Love the support. One in the chat too. The chat's been great tonight. You guys are losing your minds over there in the chat.
They finally pushed me over the edge.
It's like you people are losing your minds.
I was doing great until finally I was like, Troy, you got to take your trolls and go elsewhere.
Troy stalks me online. That's just a fact.
I know.
Yeah.
But now he's bringing trolls in here too. It's like,
we are streaming multi-stream, so to be honest, this is just, I think I'm just looking at the Oregon view. This is not even the Ohio State channel. This is just the Oregon channel. So the Ohio State channel, I don't even know if I see those chats, to be honest. I hate multi-streaming like this, but I'm not super familiar with it. So, yeah, that one's probably losing its mind over there, too. But, yeah, please do, everyone, go follow Jay, Locked On Buckeyes, and on YouTube as well as on Twitter, and check him out with the Locked On Network, especially Locked On Big Ten Network that they do, where they do they have like 4 or 5 of them together, like Spencer and stuff like that. It's fun. They're fun conversations that they have over there. So we are just looking. I know I'm on the Ohio State channel. I just don't know if it was showing up my comments. Shut up, Troy. Get over to the Oregon channel. Subscribe. Am I going to live? No, I'm not going live tonight. My ass going to bed. I'm old. Have you not seen the gray hairs in my beard? I'm old. I went live on Saturday. You just weren't there. What is the score? Oh my God, we're in for a barn burner in here. 24-24, Iowa, Missouri. Oh,
Good. I'm going to watch the end of it.
Yoy. Oh, Iowa. Oh, Iowa. All right, Spaz, do you have any final thoughts about this game or the chat? Any things you're looking for? Because I'm just looking for both these teams are going to have different game plans, defensively and offensively. I think that's pretty clear. You're not going to run the same thing. You're going to run a couple of plays, but you're pulling out all the stops in this type of game.
Yeah. No, I'm just ready to get the game going. I need a nap. I got to go to a game later, and I need a nap.
Oh my God! 56-yard attempt, Missouri. It's good. Oh God, that damn kicker. Oregon needs to pay him like $5 million. Bring him over.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch. Isn't that the guy who hit 61 yards last year?
I don't remember.
I think it was the same guy that beat Kansas State last year. He hit a 61-yarder. Like, holy shit! Was it last year or this year? Oh no, never mind. Nope, new one. Different kicker. How is Missouri finding these kickers?
I don't know.
This is bullshit. All right. Anyways. Well, you go take a nap. I am going to finish this game with all its 4 minutes left of glory. And then we will see everyone here on the pregame show for the Rose Bowl and the postgame show, win or lose, even in all my sadness. If we lose,
So we do it 2:00 pregame.
Yeah, about 45 minutes before kickoff.
That'd be
Something
3.
like that. Sure.
3-year time.
I haven't set it up yet, so I don't know. Yes, exactly. That would be fantastic.
Have a good one, everybody.
That's right. Spaz, where can people stalk you though? Please tell people where they can follow you.
Twitter.
What is Twitter? Twitter is not a thing.
X, Twitter.
There you. Thank you.
I still call it Twitter. It'll always be Twitter.
It's true. That's why everyone says X/Twitter or Twitter/X.
Yeah. You can find me there. Just put my name in or put Sean_Spazdrag. Either one. You'll find me. That
is right. You can also find him right here on the Oregon channel. Weekly for the weekly show and a lot of time pregame, but mostly post games. But this week we will be doing the pregame show before the Rose Bowl, of course, and the post game. And I'm just Ben of Exploring with Ben and Sam here on YouTube. I don't know why it says Exploring with Ben and not and Sam, but apparently everything reset. So Exploring with Ben and Sam on YouTube or Exploring with Ben on Twitter. And other than that, we will see you guys in a couple days to talk the pregame show. I don't know what Spaz just said, so I'm just going to end this bitch. All you need to know is hit that like, share, and subscribe. And let's go Ducks. Quack.